Hello, I'm here with Mark from Balsam Home Inspections. He has a combined experience of 25 years with real estate and home inspecting. Um, Welcome, Mark. Thank you for coming on. What would you say the main things you look for when you show up to a house to do a home inspection?
Well, Ben, as you know, you've been in several of these inspections with me. Safe, sound, and secure are the big things. When I say safe, sound, and secure, I'm talking about electrical issues, plumbing issues, foundation issues, roof issues. The big safe things. Of course, we go through the whole house, room by room, step by step, but we look for the big safe, sound, and secure things because, as a buyer, you want to know that the foundation isn't going to crumble on you, or something like that.
Right.
So, safe, sound, and secure is the three big words that we use, and most electrical, plumbing, foundation, roofing, siding falls under that. So,
Sure.
okay.
Great. So, what's the biggest advantage for a buyer to have a home inspection?
Well, I think it's for their own knowledge of what the home condition of the home is. Because there's a lot of people that are first-time homeowners that know absolutely nothing about a house other than how to open the front door.
Right.
So I try to take as much time with a first-time homeowner as a veteran homeowner, showing them things like water heater, how to shut the power off, how to turn the water off, and stuff like that. So I just try to keep that in my routine for first-time people and veterans. So
Sure. That makes sense. It's always good for buyers. I always encourage buyers to get a home inspection so they can have a good, well-rounded knowledge of what they're getting into.
well, yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's their biggest investment of their lives usually. So that they go in eyes wide open is what I tell them. So that's
Yeah, and Ben, a lot of buyers go in and they'll take mom and dad with them or a contractor buddy, and they find stuff that isn't really pertinent to an inspection, like
sure.
these rafters aren't built to today's specs or something like that, but there's nothing wrong with the way they were built back in the day or whatever. So we look at it from an inspector point of view totally different than a contractor or somebody who thinks they're a contractor or something like that.
Sure. That makes sense. Um,
Because
what are the most common things that you call out on an inspection? Like, what are the most common issues that you would see?
Well, again, as you know, you've been on a lot of these inspections with me. Smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. I see so many of those in homes that they're either there and not working, or they're just not there at all.
Right.
So, and some people think that if you have a wood stove, you don't need to have a carbon monoxide detector. Well, that's not true. It's just like having a propane stove. You got to have one.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of homes are all electric inside. They don't have any gas appliances, but they have an attached garage. You still need smoke detectors in your house because you have an attached garage.
Right.
So, a couple of the other things I see a lot is outlets around sinks in the bathroom and the kitchen. They're not a GFCI, which is a ground fault interrupter type outlet, which if it trips right at the outlet, not back at the breaker box. That's another real common issue I see. They don't have the proper outlets around sinks, and if they do, sometimes they're old and they don't work properly. So I run into that almost every day of the week. That's something super common. Another thing I see a lot of are handrails going up steps to the upper levels or lower levels. Not just in older homes, but a lot of newer homes, people take them off when they're moving furniture up and down, so they can get their furniture up and down, and they never put them back on. Well, that's a safety hazard, number one, and it's something that can trip up a loan from an appraisal point of view too, if you don't have a handrail.
Right.
So,
Yep.
so it's important to have that stuff.
For sure. Especially those government-backed FHA, USDA style. They're gonna call anything
Yep.
like that on appraisal. Yep.
Yep,
Right.
exactly. That's one of the top things on their list when I go through like handrails and GFCI outlets, stuff like that. So,
And you
that's
know a
kind
lot
of
of that from your experience in real estate. So that's
well, yeah. When I sold real estate, I used one particular inspector, and I usually went on the inspections with as much as I could, and I learned a lot based on that. So I've
yep.
been on the real estate side of these inspections for many, many years too. So that really helped me out when I got into doing home inspections too.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yep.
So,
So
so is there an advantage or should sellers get an inspection before listing, a pre-listing inspection, I guess we would call it?
I would say yes, Ben, and it's gotten more and more, I've seen more and more with this last year here, because of the shortage of homes, and it can help move an offer along quicker if you got an inspection done on it. And let's say you had 2 or 3 things that need to be repaired, and you repair them as the homeowner, like immediately, and somebody comes look at the house, the inspection report's laying on the table, says, this was wrong, that was wrong. And the homeowner says, I fixed it, here's my receipts on it, or whatever, and it's fixed. That looks really good to a potential buyer. And then the buyer will have to have a home inspection and put a contingency on to slow down the offer process, as you know. So I think they're getting to be a little bit more important. And I'm doing a lot more of them this year than I've done in the past. So there's past year, I should say. So I think it is very important, especially with the way the real estate market is right now. You know?
Yeah, I will say from experience that does move things along a lot quicker, because you don't have that, potential interruption of, well, we need, 2 weeks to get this fixed or something like that, because getting a hold of a contractor or somebody to fix a small thing can be very difficult.
Yep. So, if the homeowner has the inspection, pre-inspection done, well before they list, let's say a month before they list, it gives them time to get a contractor and get the repairs made,
Right.
And that's kind of what people have been doing, and then just, it helps sell the house. I mean, buyers can definitely have their own inspection if they want to too, but
Sure.
it just takes a little pressure off of a potential buyer,
Well, and then the seller's not caught off guard when an inspector does find something wrong. And more often than not, I mean, there's always something there's
Yep.
always something.
Even in these newer houses, Ben, there's something,
Right.
and you just have to expect that. So.
Right. So that's a good thing for sellers to know, that they can have an pre-listing inspection.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. Yep, and it's the same inspection I do for a buyer after an offer. It's the exact same process. The same things get examined and checked and looked at. Same form. They use the same inspection form on it and everything. So nothing changes other than it's done, pre-list instead of post-list, type of thing. So.
sure. Well, that makes sense. Awesome. All right. Well, that'll call it for this morning. Thank you, Mark, for joining us. Again, Mark's from Balsam Home Inspections.
Okay.
And I will put his contact information on here. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me, Ben. It was fun.